This is Dr. Annie coming to you from Couch Conversations, Psychotherapy and Counseling. Here at Couch Conversations, we work with a lot of individuals who are experiencing different symptoms of anxiety. And so we wanted to create a managing anxiety series where we talk about some of the common things that come up with individuals experiencing anxiety. For example, the common thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that may come up for people, and how they can manage those things in a way that's going to be healthy and productive and helpful for them in those situations. In this video, we are taking a look at thoughts and the thinking patterns that people who experience anxiety commonly think about. So in general, when people are experiencing anxiety, a lot of their thinking pattern is, thinking about the unknown. What is going to happen in my future? What are some of the things that I have yet to find out that are big question marks about my future that I don't necessarily know? So a common theme that we find in terms of the thinking pattern is one of which that is trying to figure out, well, what's going to happen in my future, right? If I spend enough time thinking about it and I spend enough time worrying about it, then somehow I'll be able to figure out what will happen in my future. And so people really engage in things like fortune telling and mind reading sometimes, in terms of thinking that they know what's going to happen in the future, predicting the future, or even trying to figure out what other people are thinking so that they can make sense of their reality. Unfortunately, this type of thinking and people who experience anxiety commonly have a thinking pattern that is pretty rigid, and there isn't much room for flexibility. It could be very judgmental, the way that they're thinking, skewed generally towards the negative instead of the positive, and very often not based in reality. There is a distorted sense of reality, which is why these thoughts are actually sometimes called thought distortions, right? They're not based in reality. And so it's very hard when somebody with anxiety is trying to approach a specific situation or the thing that they're anxious about, and they're coming in with these thoughts that are very, rigid, inflexible, negative, and judgmental. So one of the first things that we always want to do, that I have mentioned in several of my videos now, is to identify what is going on in those moments. Trying to find a pattern of thinking that comes up and understanding when it comes up, what are the triggers for when those thinking patterns come up, and then asking yourself, is this helping me out right now? Is this something that is actually productive for me, or is it interfering and getting in the way of the things that I'm trying to do? When you work with a therapist who utilizes cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT, that therapist will help you identify these thoughts that you're having and help you understand the patterns that come up, the triggers for you, when they're coming up, in what situations. And then usually a CBT therapist will utilize something called a thought record, which helps you clearly write down the thoughts, behaviors, and feelings that you're having, and ultimately identify a more balanced way of thinking. So certainly we are not advocating that you only think positive as you're approaching these situations. You actually still want to have a balanced view, but just not have it so skewed all the way to the negative or all the way to the positive, but something that is really within the reality of what's going on for you, and keeping in mind that evidence that supports the reality of your situation. So as you work with your therapist and you continue to focus on your thoughts, identifying the thoughts that come up for you in anxiety-provoking situations, as well as whether or not they are helping you, you can then start to make different decisions about how you would like to approach different situations in your life and making sure you're approaching it in a way that is balanced and helpful and adaptive for you. If you would like to learn more about thinking patterns and how that is potentially impacting you, or ways of managing your anxiety in terms of your thoughts, please feel free to reach out to one of our couch conversation psychotherapy and counseling therapists. And you can fill out the contact us form below or give us a call, and one of our therapists will get back to you. Thank you so much for your time, and feel free to check out some of our other videos from the Managing Anxiety series. Take care.